One. And welcome everybody to another episode of Smart Money Circle. I'm your host, Adam Sarhan. With me today is a very special guest, Mr. Doron Gerstel, who's the CEO of Perion. Ticker symbol is PERI for those of you that follow on the stock market. Doron, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure.
So I always like to begin by asking, can you tell us your story and how you got in the business and how your journey to how you got to where you are today?
Oh, my journey. So raised and born in Israel, actually 2 times relocate to the States. One when I graduate the Technion, and to, where was it? Bluebell, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And the second time when I already had 4 children, which was quite a logistic challenge, to the Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
As a technology guy that did this engineering degree at the Technion and being part of the Israeli high-tech domain or industry, there is one thing that you need to understand from the first day that you are joining this very precious type of sector. Is that the domestic market is very limited on its opportunity, and for day one you need to look about all the business, international business. By the way, some basically said that it's our greatest advantage in developing great technology that very much bind us to look for a market. So I started my professional life in the telecommunication business, and then it moves into the software. I'm very much enterprise software guy. Perion is the 5th company that I'm a CEO of. And there were 3 venture-backed companies and 2 public companies. Perion is publicly traded, both in NASDAQ, PERI, that's our ticker, as well as in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. I joined Perion April 2017, so it's a little bit more than 4 years, 4 years and a half. And as I mentioned, I'm not consider myself as a media guy, maybe no more now than it was back then on 2017. But there is one thing which is really strike me when it comes to media tech or ed tech, advertising technology. It's the technology part of the ed tech, because I do believe that there is a tremendous opportunity to add advanced technology into advertising, into a media. That's what makes a difference. And that was my main statement, that we are first and foremost building our technology moat and trying to hire the best engineers, data scientists as we possibly can. And I must say, in retrospective, for 4.5 years, it's really helped us to grow our business and be a very profitable company.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. A lot of content there. So Doron, can you explain to us a little about what the company does and help the audience understand the value proposition and how you guys play the game, so to speak?
Yes, so first it starts with the fact that we are part of, it's close to $500 billion spent by advertisers that goes only into digital screens. Okay. In other words, what this is not include, not paper, not billboard, not even what called the linear TV. This is all outside of this budget, everything which is digital advertising. Now, the digital advertising gives a lot of advantages for advertisers. This is why they increase the spend on digital advertising, because it gets personalization to a level that they didn't experience before. The ability to personalize the message is way, way, way better than any other platform of advertising, if you're taking newspaper or any other thing, which has created great opportunity. And this book has been very much written by Google and Facebooks and others. So while having, those giants, what the company of Perion is doing, and we are, let's say, a medium-sized company with $500 billion in revenue and around $50 million of profit. So what we are doing? Basically, in this spectrum of advertiser, Perion is first and foremost has a direct relationship with the advertiser. At one side, by the way, it's called the demand side of the open web. And at the same time, we have relationship with publisher, which is defined as the supply side of the open web.
Got it.
We are connecting between the two and offering what it's called a high impact advertising or high impact creative for those advertisers that really care about how their advertisement would look like, which believe that there is a tight correlation between the brand equity and the way you are very much advertise your product. And this is our claim of fame. And we are doing it in the most efficient way because it's so easy to measure the performance of advertising. And
right.
All advertiser is looking on a single KPI, which everything is built into it, which is return on ad spend. So what is the return that you are getting on the investment that you're doing on advertising? And this is what we are measuring ourselves, and this is what we share with our customer, our advertiser, that they're adding their spend as we go because they are very happy with the return that they're getting on the investment that they're doing through our pipe that we are offering to them.
Understood. So basically, to make sure I understand what you're saying and the audience understands, in the old days, you used to watch TV and there's just an ad, or you read a newspaper, they interrupt you. You're driving down the street, you see a billboard. There's no way for that advertiser to measure or customize that ad for the target audience. It's just anybody watching TV or anybody driving down the highway. But now with digital advertising, you can get it really down to you can measure and not only and target specific demographics. So if you want to target moms or older people or middle-aged people or whatever the case may be, you can do that for the advertiser. And then you don't have to worry about wasting all the money on the people that aren't your target audience.
Exactly.
And then you can also measure the results better by, if I spend $1 with you, I can get back $2 or $3 or $5 or $10 or whatever the case.
This is what is basically happening, and this is why this whole spend of advertiser on digital platform is increasing on a rate of 15 to 20% annually.
That was my next question. So do you see growth going forward? What are the risks or what could possibly slow this down?
So we need to look at it from a three type of pillar.
Sure.
The spend of $500 billion is divided into three different pillars. The one which you all familiar with has to do with social channels like the Facebook, Instagram, the Twitter, so on and so forth, where people are spending more and more time.
Yep.
And this channel is very much known of its unlimited way of personalization because those platforms know exactly who you are and exactly who is your friend and exactly what content interests you, and they have all possible information about your preference in this moment, which is so tempting for advertiser to really have a great match because each one of those social channels have also a media platform. So they're able to connect nicely this budget into the specific audience. So social advertising, one. The second one is very much known as a performance advertiser, and some call it search advertising. Because if you are searching for something, by the way, search is divided into three buckets.
Okay.
It's called informative search is like who invented what, directional search, where should I find what, and it's transactional search, price off.
Right.
Transactional search, if you think about it, is the highest possible intent that the user is very much sharing, right? In this way, you want to buy, what's the price of electrical bike? So this is heaven for who? For electrical bike vendors.
Right.
Right?
Right.
They will put their ads there and off we go. So this has to do with search advertising. The third one has to do with display advertising, display including, connected TV, website, all those that are content, driven by content. And again, we're consuming way more content over the web, which is another very interesting, useful area to put ads. Now, you were asking yourself why this is growing and what can go wrong. So
right.
First and foremost, it's not just that we are buy online. We understand that we need to search before we buy.
Right.
Even if it's online or even if it's on a retail brick and mortar shop,
offline.
We search before.
Right.
Search before buy has become a consumer behavior, right?
Yes.
If search before buy is the consumer behavior, search advertising will follow. So this will continue because nobody will ever change because it's so useful and, by the way, very cheap for the consumer.
Right.
Doesn't cost you a penny to search.
It's free. Yeah.
So this is very much on the rise. Social media, as I mentioned before, I think that the young generation is spending so much time on social media, which is the more time they spend, I think the greater opportunity for advertiser to spend their dollars there. I don't think that this will, have any chance that people will change their, preference. It's become even worse and worse because, they're not able to develop any kind of face-to-face conversation anymore because they're very much their attention to the screen. And in terms of content, I think that the major shift that we're able to see is from linear TV into cordless TV, what is known as over the top, because all those linear type of content on TV is going to switch. And once it will switch to, connected TV, as they call it, it will be a huge opportunity for advertiser because instead of spray dollars all over, hopefully to get some return, they will able to, as you mentioned, be way more accurate and target individuals with the right message, some interactive way with the audience. So I don't think that there is anyone or any kind of things that will stop us, or stop advertiser to spend more dollars into digital platforms.
Got it. Yeah, we have a lot of investors that watch the show and our audience, hence the question. So that, yeah, I fully agree with you because I have some companies where we advertise a lot and all of our advertising is going online because of those reasons. It's measurable, there's an ROI, so on and so forth. And there's virtually no offline advertising at all. So my next question for you, Doron, is with respect to the services you offer and your unique value proposition, how you're positioned against the competitors. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So, the main strategic decision that we took back then when I joined was, how you're able to navigate to growth in a market, which is on one hand, huge business, $500 billion addressable, market, but on the other end, very much driven by very large Google, Facebook, to some extent, Amazon, which is very much control this business. So we decided in a unique strategy, which is basically saying that is based on diversification. Okay. So we are diversified our offering based on the three main pillars of digital advertising. So our platform is very much allows you to look at it from a social advertising, search advertising, as well as advertising on the web. which called display advertising. Now, this specific decision was taken based on the point of view of the chief digital officer of any given brand, more preferably large brand.
The advertisers.
This advertiser was responsible of allocating its digital advertising dollars between the three main pillars, is very much changed its allocation. And we as Perion, we very much would like to leverage and capitalize on any movement that is happening between those pillars.
Got it.
That's the unique thing.
I love it. So if an advertiser comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm selling, water bottles. Here are my demographics. Here's my ideal customer," you can help them run proper ads that have results for the advertiser. I mean, they can sell.
That's for sure. But if he's definitely saying, you know what, we ran it on social media and we're not happy, and now for some reason we want to move more into, performance marketing or performance advertising.
Right.
So if we were only social, we will definitely be affected by this decision.
Right.
And now we're saying, and we develop it in furthermore because there is a lot of cross, type of relationship that has to do with data synchronization and others that we are definitely benefit from the fact that we are offering three different, type of channels.
Got it. And that makes perfect sense. So I guess what are some mistakes you see advertisers make with respect to advertising online and digitally, or just advertising in general?
So, first of all, I think that the mistake has to do, with the fact that you need to know the possibilities. You need very much to understand, what digital advertiser can offer you in a way, to take it to other areas, to be open-minded in terms of the possibilities, because there are endless possibilities here. And the technologies keep advancing it. I can tell you, very, small example that we are very much, we are doing CTV advertising, but what we are now focusing is more on the interactive CTV. Interactive in a way that we are offering you a way to do it through your remote control to interact with the ads. In other words, you are the viewer, select what you want to see as part of that. Why this is so important for advertisers? Because at the breakout time, how the advertiser know that you specifically engage with the ad? Maybe you're doing something else.
Right.
Maybe you are in social media at this point.
Right.
But the fact that you are engaged with the ad means that you are interesting. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. This is great indicator for the advertiser. And this just show you about how the technology is going to, advance the possibilities for an advertiser. So the first is knowing, what are the possibilities and work with the company. I think that, one-stop shopping is always good because there is interaction. I'm not that objective, if you can see, that they can very much interact between the three different pillars and the three different channels and creating kind of holistic campaign instead of working with multiple vendors and that are not syncing between each other. So that's another mistake that I think that they're doing. Last but not least, I think that when it comes to advertiser, the main issue is has to do with reach the right audience, okay, and then which we call the capture, and then the convincing part. Okay, so I capture your attention, but now I need to convince you to an action, either in your memory or to click here on doing. The convincing part is you need to look at it from the highest possible creative. It's not that trivial. The fact that you see a banner there that is maybe cost way less, it's maybe not that convincing for the audience. Right. Which even more than that, the way your ad tells them a lot about your brand. So that's why we're working with a lot of brands that care about their brand equity and truly believe that the level of creativity that they have on their ad units has a direct correlation to their brand equity.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Those are the main like three things which I would advise advertisers to look at.
What about for a timeless lessons? You know, the show is very big on timeless lessons. If you were to go back and tell your 30-year-old self or 20-year-old self, you know, one or two pieces of advice, what would that be?
Don't work on EdTech. No, I'm just kidding. So, you know, I believe that, you know, I had the chance to work in the past with a guy that I think is I can't say mentor, but the one that I like to follow. His name is Mark Andreessen.
Yes.
And Mark said a very, very important quote. I think that was back on, let's say, 1999 or even a bit before, which says, software is eating the world. And my advice is that it's need to be something around software, because that's the future. I think that that would be my advice.
I love it. And then my final question, from a leadership standpoint, as you lead a team and your team grows, what are some leadership lessons that you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, that's a tough one. I think that the leadership here is, you know, what I consider is my role as the CEO of the company. So one, I need to be a motivator of the team. And second, I consider myself as a coach or a trainer of the team.
Got it.
You know, this is definitely, you know, my role, and that's the way I'm trying. You know, I'm leading the organization.
I love, well, hence the question, since you're the leader. That's why I wanted to ask you that question. Mm-hmm. So that's fantastic. Doron, thank you so much. What is the best way for people to engage with Perion or get in touch or use your services?
Yeah, so the best way is to look at our website, which is perion.com. And there is a way to contact us, and we'll be more than happy to answer your question. And I'm on LinkedIn, so also you can you know, write to me directly, and I will answer all your questions.
Beautiful. Doron, well, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks again.
All right.